Yeah.
Let's talk about the controversy itself. Tariel was a big controversy on the internet with the fans and everything.
Yeah.
What was your response to that? What was your reaction to that?
Oh, well, I mean, you're obviously not surprised. I mean, because, you've got people that are only just hearing things and they're not seeing the movie and they don't know what we're doing, and so everyone's going to react in whatever way they choose to react. I mean, I think now that people can see the movie, I think they'll understand. And look, the key thing is that, movies are different to novels. Novels, you have the voice of the writer, the narrator, Tolkien in the case of The Hobbit, he's the voice who is taking you on the story. I mean, in the movie version, you don't have me. I don't talk. Well, apart from the commentary track on the DVD. But I mean, I don't talk. I'm not the narrator. The filmmaker is not the narrator in the way the author of a book is. So your characters, cinema is all, the story is told through the voice of the people. It's told through character. It's the only way that the story gets told in the movies. And so we need characters, and we need characters outside of the 13 dwarves, a hobbit and a wizard, to tell the story. And the elves, the elvish kingdom in the book is very memorable, but Tolkien doesn't even name the king of the elves. He's called the Elf King, and later in the Lord of the Rings we learn he's Thranduil. We learn that he had a son, Legolas. We learn these things later on, and we thought, well, we know that now. We'll put them in the story. I mean, we'll make them part of the story. And then Tariel was the third part of that equation, because again, drama stories are sometimes best told with 3 points of view. They all have different points of view. Legolas, Tariel, and Thranduil are all represent completely different polar, opposite points of view in a way within the elvish political system.
You have given now 18 years of your life to Tolkien, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. It feels.
How do you feel about
feels
that?
like it.
Did you plan that at the beginning?
No, I mean, look, I'm just grateful. I grew up as a kid wanting to make movies, in a country that didn't have a film industry. New Zealand had no film industry in the 60s when I grew up. There wasn't anybody making movies. And so I had this kind of crazy dream, a love of film, and particularly fantastic films, fantasy. I loved King Kong and Ray Harryhausen and things. That was my childhood, and so, having ended up being a guy who is able to adapt these wonderful stories and make them in New Zealand, and just do what I dreamt of doing when I was a kid. I mean, look, however hard I find it, and there are days that are very stressful and days that are, it's like you are feeling very pressured. Hey, I'm the 7-year-old who got to fulfill his dream. I mean, how lucky can I? I'm really lucky, really lucky.
Being at Weta, yes. Weta is like you. I mean, there's one side that is digital effect, and the other one that is more like a real effect. And I feel like you're a kind of organic filmmaker, and another side a very scientific filmmaker in a way. Would you say that it's your way of making movies now, that you kind of probably the only one that does that very well, mixing the new image, the digital image, to the real cinema? Would you say that you're the...
Well, digital effects are amazing. I mean, they are, since I was a kid wanting to make movies, I have seen a revolution where anything you imagine now is you can put on a screen. There's nothing, you shut your eyes and think of any visual imagery, and you can do it. I mean, there's no, and that wasn't always the case. I mean, even 15, 20 years ago, that wasn't possible. And so, as a filmmaker, wanting to take audiences into a world that is full of amazing, fantastic things that you don't get to see in your normal life. It's just, it's a wonderful tool set to have, the digital cinema. But also, I also think that as much as we possibly can, we've got to make it feel realistic. We have to make it feel kind of organic. You have to then take the digital image and start to try to pull it back into trying to make it feel as real as possible. So, a lot of the digital work we do, we try. I did a lot of the filming of the digital stuff with a camera, a handheld. Kind of tried to do a lot of it with a handheld camera, make it feel not too mechanical. Put a lot of water drops on the lens and dirt on the lens, make it feel like there's a camera involved in the action, even if there's not actually one in real life. So you do try to, the digital effects are there, and now you're trying to really drag them in to make them part of the organic real world. It's getting there. I mean, there's still a ways to go.
One very last thing, but you need an army to do this kind of movies. Don't you miss the time of bad taste and brain dead, this kind of stuff? Do you ever want to go back to that?
Look, I mean, I had a little sense of it on the Desolation of Smaug, because the last 30 minutes of the movie there's a lot of digital shots which I was filming with a camera on the motion capture stage. I just had a camera, and I was all by myself with the technicians. There wasn't a crew, and I was filming this stuff. So I had a little taste of going back to my Super 8 days. I loved it, in actual fact. I really loved it. But also, everybody is there to help you make the movie, and they're there for a reason. I mean, they're there to. I mean, I can't build these amazing props and sets, and I can't do it all. I mean, I used to, in the old days, I did used to try and do it all myself. And I used to try to do it in my bedroom, which stunk of glue fumes, and it's probably one of the most unhealthy places on earth for a while. My bedroom in Pukekohe Bay, when I was making latex gorilla suits and things, was like pretty toxic. It should have had one of those symbols on the door, one of the bio waste kind of, but everybody's there to help you, and I love to use them to help me. I love it, the collaboration. Yeah.